Hey y'all, happy Friday. What's happening, y'all? How's everybody doing? Welcome, YouTube, and welcome, Facebook. I am so glad to be here with you guys tonight. I know that you could be anywhere on your Friday, but you have chosen to be here, and I appreciate you. You guys, my guest tonight, we are going to talk it up. She is a woman who has a great journey and a great story to tell. She is an empty nester for all of you out there who have kids that are gone on and doing your own thing. She is going to talk a little bit about that, as well as all the incredible things that she is doing in her life, where she actually helps people live the kind of life that they were born for. And I'm so down for that. So without further ado, I want to welcome to the conversation, ladies and gentlemen, Lisa Carmichael. Hi,
Hi,
Lisa.
Chantal. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing,
I'm
lady?
great. Happy Friday. Thank you.
Happy Friday. Oh
Thanks
my
so
gosh,
much
I'm
for
so
having me
glad you could be
here.
here.
Uh,
What were you saying?
I was grateful for you having me here.
Oh, I'm so glad you could be here. Let me fix my hair. I got these little strands here. You know, we ladies gotta keep it right, right?
That's right. That's right. You're looking good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I am really excited to have you here tonight because I think that you're going to have a lot to offer the people. I know that the talking about being an empty nester, I'd like to talk about that a little bit. But before we get into our conversation, I would love for you to tell them from your own lips a little bit about who you are.
You bet. So I live here in Minnesota. So I'm in the Midwest, and we jump straight from winter into summer, and it's gorgeous. It's just very, very gorgeous. And I work from home, so I am looking at outside at the green grass and the beautiful sky, and I'm just so grateful for life. And I'm so grateful for my marketing business. And part of the reason I point that out, what I'm noticing is that we really need to embrace the moments and embrace the moments in our entrepreneur journey. And, it's all about building strong relationships. So
Yeah.
I work with clients who are entrepreneurs who want to stand out from their competitors and manage their reputations and legacies. And it all starts with the small moments by just noticing.
Mm. I love that. I wanted to talk to you a little bit. Thank you so much for just sharing that. I've never been to Minnesota, so I'm glad you shared about the weather because I would have never known that.
Oh, yeah, it's gorgeous. It really is. It's beautiful. It's always
Wow.
green in the summer.
Oh, wow. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, what time are you there right now?
It is 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
righty. All righty. Well, thank you so much. I know this is kind of a late conversation for you, but I appreciate you being on. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to just jump on in. Thank you for the introduction. But, I know that you wrote a book and you kind of like touch base a little bit in your introduction about, just, how you help people. But you have a book that you've written
I have.
and you can tell them the title of it. But my question for you would be like, what does it mean to make time for your own life? Because I know that your book has a title similar to that. So if you could tell us the title and then tell me what does it mean to you to make time for your own life?
Well, the title of the book is I Have Time for You.
Mm,
And the book is really self-talk. I
okay.
was writing affirmations, and I decided that I was going to take my journal and I was going to transcribe it and help other women find their confidence. Because when I was writing these affirmations, I was noticing how my thoughts were changing, that the self-doubt was gradually going away. And when I finally made time for me, that's when the confidence showed up. And that was probably, yeah, that was the biggest piece out of becoming an author for me, was that realization, almost this healing process that I went through to understand the importance of taking time for myself. I never knew that. My
Wow.
mom worked so hard. She was always working hard, and I thought that's what I was supposed to do.
Hmm. That's a great point. I love that you're sharing that because I think that we all come from families that, work hard. In every family, there's
Mhm.
somebody that works hard,
Uh-huh.
really, really works hard. And in lieu of working hard, often we just forget about us.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we don't see it as a need. And then we're often wondering, what just happened?
we just
Why? Yeah, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling neglected?
mm,
And it's not that other people are neglecting you. You're just neglecting yourself.
ooh, that's a great point, Lisa.
Hmm.
That's a great point. I don't think people think of it that way. You know,
No, we don't.
I don't think.
I agree.
Why do you think that is?
I don't think people just, we're in an age of everything is automatic. We want everything done immediately,
Mm,
and we don't take the time to enjoy those moments, to
mm.
slow down and realize that I might be a better person if I take a little more time for myself.
Ooh, that's beautiful. I might be a better person if I take a little bit more time for myself.
And not just might, you will. I guarantee it.
You will. I like that. You mentioned that you journaled. What made you decide to start journaling for yourself?
So I have been in the digital marketing arena for almost 5 years, and I was working uh, alongside of my family. I had worked corporately until my third child was born, and then I started working alongside of my family, doing odd things. And I really noticed that I liked being my own boss, but it wasn't going exactly the way that I wanted it to. And someone pointed out to me that most successful entrepreneurs spend a lot of their time on mindset. I'm like, okay, I can do that. So every morning I would work on mindset and I would just journal. And I came up with these 7 principles that helped me focus a little bit differently each day, focusing on trusting, focusing on discipline, focusing on belief. And it was just a matter of time where I gradually changed the negative recordings in my mind to be positive recordings. And I didn't even notice that I was doing it until I slowed down and started the journaling.
That's good stuff. We're getting, is there a little feedback I hear? I want to start that over because I want to make sure that's not on my end. But technology, y'all, it happens. So be
Yeah.
prepared. You might hear
Okay.
sounds because we are new age in it with the technology and being online doing these shows. But I started journaling last year myself, and I started a gratitude journal. So I totally agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Journaling is powerful, actually. It's a real powerful tool. And I actually got so excited about it that I started offering gratitude journals in my business. And so I'm a firm advocate of like write stuff down, because when you write things down, there's something that happens. And you're talking about
Mm-hmm.
mindset. There's
Mm-hmm.
something that happens in your mind. There's something that happens in your energy that is really transforming for you. And you mentioned, being a better person for ourselves, taking the time for ourselves allows that. And that journaling, that's just like it offers so much, because not only are you journaling and you're getting what you experience out on paper, but it could even go on to be like your book at some point. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? There's so much to
Mm-hmm.
offer from it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
My gratitude when I was writing my book, I was first introduced to Instagram and I was really stuck. Like, what can I post on Instagram? And so what I did is every day at 10 a.m., I just posted what I was grateful for at that moment. So whether I was on a yeah, when I was on a walk, I would take a photo of some lilacs or some flowers. If I had been, if I made something in the kitchen, I snapped a picture of it. But it was more of me showing my gratefulness that I was grateful, and it felt good instead of being braggy or trying to one up somebody else. It was really about me just saying, you know what, this is what I'm grateful for today. And it raises that elevation. It elevates your consciousness.
I love that. The title of the show is Elevated Empty Nester. So
Oh,
I love
okay.
that you use that word because I do agree with you that there's something powerful that it elevates you. And I love that
Mhm.
how you used your Instagram. I think that, we can use Instagram for different reasons. I always love when I go on and I see someone like you who is posting something positive, reminding us to be grateful and enjoy the life that we have. It's
Mhm.
so beautiful. And if we could have more of that in the world, can you just imagine where
That's right.
where we could go in this
Yeah,
world, the power, the change that could happen? I
definitely.
thank you for doing that and being an example at that because it's so needed. It really, really is.
I do feel that, post COVID, I feel people are starting to get it, that gratefulness is needed, it's necessary. And one other thing with it too is that, if you think of words as being a vibration,
Hmm.
the vibration of something being that you're grateful for is a higher vibration. You're a musician. That vibration is a higher, it's a different vibration than a low vibration.
Uh-huh.
And gratitude just again elevates you, and that's how you get that higher vibration.
Oh, did you guys hear that? Repeat that again.
So gratitude raises your vibration. So it puts your vibration at a higher level because words are just vibrations. Everything
Hmm.
that we hear is a vibration. Everything is a tiny molecule. This piece of wood is a molecule. The computer is a molecule. Our words are molecules. And when putting gratitude out there raises the vibration. It just uplifts our soul, uplifts ourselves and everyone
Oh,
around us.
I love it. That is great, great, great stuff. Wow. So you know what I'm hearing? I think what's happening is my microphone is interchanging with yours. I think that's what's happening.
Okay.
Did you
Um,
hear that?
let me.
Y'all bear with us because we work these kinks out as we go along and it works and I love it. I love it. I love it. But
Okay.
yeah, that's a little bit better right now. Like I can't hear it coming through yours.
Let me just try one different thing.
Okay.
Along with technology, being a user of technology and knowing how to use the technology, did that?
Uh-huh. That's better. Yeah, I can't hear my microphone through yours now.
Okay.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks for adjusting. Y'all see that? We just adjusting and we're gonna keep rolling. Thank you, Lisa. Um, you know, with what you're talking about, the higher vibrations, I think that I definitely have experienced that myself personally. And I think we all got to take care of ourselves in some way. Some of us go to the spa, some of us, go for walks, some of us sit down and write like you and I, and journal. I just think that any kind of way you can raise the vibration in your life and live a healthier life for yourself, because at the end of the day, it's not about everybody else. It's really about you and what you're doing with your own life. And with that said, I want to just move to this next point where, you were talking earlier about just making time for your life. Are there any indicators that you could think of that reveal when a person is just too busy for themselves? Like, is there anything that you would say, like, this is an indicator that a person is just too busy for themselves? You're on mute. There you go.
Total user error. Um, that is always the first step, is awareness.
Mm,
When you kind of think that you're starting to burn out, that's why I'm like really big into hobbies, because I do work hard. I work my business as hard as I possibly can. And I work to be a good mom, but I also have hobbies so that I know that it takes my mind off of everything else. So I don't dwell on anything. And
mm,
so the first step is awareness. So I would say too, if let's say you have a friend, a girlfriend that you know is maybe going through some kind of things, some burnout, or she's expressed how she's feeling, there is no shame in those feelings. And there's no shame in talking about those feelings. And there's no shame asking for help and reaching out. And depending on the situation, reaching out for medical advice. That's
mm.
so huge. It's so important. And we don't want anyone left behind. We
Ooh,
don't want anyone to struggle.
I like that. No one left behind. No one left behind. That's good stuff, Lisa. Good stuff. You talked about awareness. I think that, for me in my own life, being aware has been very key for me. It's saved me. It saved me mentally, it saved me in my heart. And so everything within me, it's just
Mhm.
saved me being
Mhm.
aware. But I
Mhm.
can tell you, I feel the difference when I'm aware and when I'm not. When I'm clueless, there's a difference, there's a shift in my energy. So thank you for mentioning that. That's good stuff.
And
Um,
that awareness is there too, because all of a sudden you know something's off.
mhm,
It's like you're trying to solve a problem and you just can't figure it out. You just can't figure it out. And I've learned that when you take a step back and just clear your mind and then come back, magically the problem fixes. You find a way to find that solution. So
mm,
noticing that is awareness that something's
mm.
just not right. Something's not working. So I love that.
That's cool. That's cool. When you kind of talked about it a little bit, but how can, like, besides if someone is aware, so if they get aware, what are the next steps for them with awareness? Because you did talk about some things that you have done, like with the journaling, but how can someone adjust an error in their life to make their life a little bit more healthier? Like if there's any tips you may have with that, or make it a little bit better. Say, what about the people that don't like journaling? Like if you had something you could share that would say, oh, maybe they could consider adjusting here or adjusting
Hmm.
there. Like if
Hmm.
you can give us an example of that, I would be grateful.
Well, I can't remember if I said this before, but I'm truly am a self-care junkie. I
Mm,
love to curl my hair. I love to get manicures. I love to get pedicures. And sometimes once you have that awareness, once you're aware of it, it comes naturally.
mm,
Uh, I, if you want to use business as an example, so sometimes when you struggle, you have to go back to your belief. Why are you running this business? Why are you starting the business that you're doing, that you've created? And that's a belief. And you have to have that strong belief that you're going to be okay, going back to your question, and that your business will be successful, that you are creating something that will help people solve their problems. So I would
mm,
say after awareness, just a reminder of what your belief is and knowing that there is something after the why. Everyone talks about know your why,
yeah.
but there's another piece after it, and just trusting that what you believe in is really meant, will actually come to be, because you are helping other people. So I
Nice.
would say awareness and belief, and trusting in that belief, that you know that what you believe is true.
Mm. You know, um, you're talking mindset there, because that's mindset.
Definitely. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I appreciate that. Just that is a true adjustment in itself, shifting your mind. And I love that you said go back to why you started that business, go back to why you're doing business. Because I do think a lot of times we can get lost in
Mm-hmm.
why we are doing it. So when it's a struggle in the business, when it's challenging, it's like we're so focused at the challenge and the
Mm-hmm.
struggle of the business. And I would be honest with you, I had that just this week. Oh my gosh, I had this. So what you're saying, I appreciate because I'm soaking it in because I had that this week because some things did not work out for me in my business. So I focused more on what did not work out
Oh,
versus
right.
yeah, versus what you're sharing about like readjusting. Why are you doing this business anyway?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And going back to believing that I started this business because I believed that it would help people, it would empower people, it would go out and change people's lives. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I did it. And so thank you for
And
reminding.
what happened, just to use you as an example, you lost your trust. You stopped trusting yourself.
Ooh, we
Your
finna
belief.
show out. We have a sideboard.
Sorry. But really, you have to trust.
Yes.
You have to trust that what you're doing will be of good to someone. And
Mm.
you would have never came up with the idea if if you don't have the trust in it. So yeah, it's very powerful.
Thank you, Lisa. Oh, girl. Yes, we'll have a sidebar too. Careful on that. Yeah, this week was definitely rough. It was a rough week for me,
Oh,
but
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay because if I don't go through the rough stuff, I'll never know how to, solve more challenging problem. So I have
Oh
to
yeah.
actually go through these things so that I can experience them myself.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that it'll serve me later. It'll
Yeah.
serve me later. But I remember leaving a friend of mine a text. I say, listen, I feel like I'm in the dust today, and I'm just gonna sit in the dust. But I will get up and dust it off.
Yes. Yeah.
I did remind her, like, because that's one thing about me. I will always come back and have a reality check and zoom back. But sometimes it's rough. It's like
Uh-huh.
I appreciate you just being honest, saying, we lose trust when that happens. We
Mm-hmm.
lose
Mm-hmm.
trust in ourselves and what we're doing. And it's so true, y'all. And I'm a firm believer of trying to inspire people and help people and put it out there. But sometimes those of us who are trying to inspire people, we actually need a little bit of it ourselves too. So what
It,
you just did is inspired me. So thank you.
good. Well, I'm glad because sometimes you need someone else to help you change the script
Mm,
because you're telling yourself that you're fighting the dust, and you just being an entrepreneur is very lonely, and we can get stuck in our thoughts very easily.
yes. Yes.
So I'm
We have.
glad you reached out.
Yeah, I did. Thank you. You know what? In lieu of the topics tonight, just we have to learn how to adjust and adapt and continue to advance. And I think what those principles that you're sharing with, being aware and then believing and then trusting is so good to really just keep us moving forward to adjust in our lives, to make to adapt to some things. It's okay to adapt to some things because even though it's not working in the way that you want it to, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work.
That's right.
It
That's
doesn't
right.
mean it doesn't work. So thank you. I want to move to the next question here. I appreciate you giving us that advice that you just shared, but you are an empty nester, and I want to move a little bit and get a little bit more personal with you and your journey and your story, because this book that you've written is pretty awesome, just the title in itself. But I know you personally, as an empty nester, have 3 grown children, right?
I
Am I correct?
do. Mm-hmm.
3 grown
Mm-hmm.
children. And I know that you mentioned you were in the corporate world, so you've had to make some changes. You've had to adjust and kind of adapt to your
Yep.
new life, right?
Yep.
And for all those empty nesters out there, I'm not an empty nester, but I know I will be. So I'm looking forward to you dropping some good information about this stage and this transition of life. But How has being an empty nester changed your life personally? Like, give me a specific area that you could share.
You know, just again, that awareness, first of all, becoming an empty nester, you just, every transition in life, you just don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
When you lose your parents, you don't know what to expect. When you have your child, you don't know what to expect. And that's okay, because sometimes we don't need to understand what we don't understand. And for me, I was part of a mastermind group. And that group, I just felt like it was such a gift to me. Even though I was comparing myself to everyone in the room, I knew that I had to take this mastermind, this gift, and use it in a way that would push me forward. It had to be the pivot point in my life. And as my kids were looking at colleges, and I was starting to think, I'm not getting any younger. Retirement will be here, and I need to help my kids pay off their college debt. And I need to start thinking a lot more serious about retirement. And that's why I became an author, because not only did I want to do it for other people, but I knew I had to do it for my family. And sometimes when you're faced with an empty nest, you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Doing the college visits, I think probably was the waking up moment for me. Like, this is real. This is going to happen. They are going to be moving out of the house. And someone told me too, you're never truly an empty nester, because a lot of times they come back. Now, when I turned 18, I was gone. I left home. I was grown up. There was no way I was coming back. The millennials, they don't see it that way. They come home, they live for a while, and then they move out. So my son came home after college, partially because of COVID, but now he's moved out. Now he's on his own. There's just so many variables. There's just nothing that will ever prepare you for becoming a mother. There's nothing ever that will prepare you for being an empty nester, unfortunately. And that's my biggest tip. It really is. You just have to go with the flow.
Yeah, go with the flow. You don't know what you don't know. I do appreciate that, because I think that, there is no manual. There's no manual. And then you can definitely talk to friends or get advice from different people, but their journey is a little bit, everybody's journey is a little bit different. You just never know. But I do appreciate you literally allowing yourself to experience. I'm going to go with this because I don't know what this looks like. But you did not just sit there and wait for something to happen. You chose something. You chose to write a book. And I think we talked earlier, I don't know if you mentioned this yet, but you also chose to leave your job, right?
I did during COVID. Yeah, I did. It was a struggle. I was working, I full commission, 100% commission, and I just decided that I was done. And I left that job in March or April, and I really wanted to leave in December. So my decision was there, but COVID really helped me decide that, this is it. I have to cut the tie. I have to let go and really focus on my business, on my digital marketing business. And what a blessing. It's been really freeing. It's been wonderful to be my own boss, to make the calls, to know that I can still be there for my kids if they need me, and I don't have to report in at a certain time every day.
Sounds like a plan to me. I love it. I love it. I love it. I wanted to ask you, because you you have had to start kind of a fresh, kind of a new. I wanted to just ask you, do you believe like it's hard for parents to start anew when their kids are all grown? Because most of the time when we're parents, and I think this is a huge percentage. I really don't know. I haven't done the research on it, but most parents spend their whole lives literally taking care of their children, whether if they got a job. And I think you mentioned it too. You said I did it for my children, right? We do
Mm-hmm.
a lot for our children. um,
Mm-hmm.
we get jobs so we can provide and take care of our children. It sounds like you did all the college research for your children with them. We're the parents. I was the volleyball mom, at the
Yeah.
school. My daughter
Yeah.
graduates this year from high school,
Aw,
so I will have someone graduate. So I'm going through that transition, but we do a lot for our kids. And I
we
think, and I
do.
wanted to just talk about this a little bit because you are an empty nester, and you have your kids, you just said it, they're all gone now completely,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times people are trying to figure out what am I supposed to do now, with them gone. And you have figured that out. And I know that someday I will have that situation where both kids are gone.
Yeah.
But I'm starting now. I'm
Good
starting
for
now.
you.
We
Yeah.
start now with what I know that I want to do. Start dreaming, start having a vision for myself now. What
Mm-hmm.
what do you think like about that? Like, do you feel that it's hard for a lot of parents? And if so, why?
You know, first of all, I can see that happening, but I also always thought of my children as young adults, that I was more of a partner. I was a parent, but not so much a partner, but I was an advocate for my kids. And that word came into my life when my son, who's 25 now, he was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3, and that was really hard because here I had this brand new little boy who I love dearly, and he was diagnosed different than his peers, and my world kind of came crashing down because of that. And if I wouldn't, and we were able to find early intervention for him, and he would not be as high functioning as he is if we wouldn't have addressed where we were at and recognized, had that awareness, and reached out for services. But I know that through being his, and I was, someone had told me that I, as his mother, had to be his number one advocate. And that word has always stuck with me. So I've always been his number one advocate, and I've always taught my kids to be their own advocates at the same time, because I knew eventually they would want to move away from home. They would want to leave the nest. And not only that, then, so when they did start leaving, moving on and going to college, then I realized, well, who is my advocate? And I had to be my own advocate because no one was going to look out for me the way that I wanted to be looked out for. I had to be true to myself. I had to take care of me because no one can take care of me better than I can.
Mic drop.
Good deal. Love
I
it.
I love that word, advocate. I
Mm-hmm.
love that word. And, I hope those of you who are listening out there that you can grab your own word for yourself. But I love what you chose for your family, for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
really teaching them that concept. That really helps me too. As I'm trying to help my daughter move on into the young adult life,
Yeah.
um, but I think that's a great word. I think if as parents, you know, we end up so much controlling, and I'm just speaking for myself too, but I
Mm-hmm.
think some of y'all out there can relate. Um, we're trying to control their destiny
Yes.
versus like an advocate is a great word. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think that whole aspect of really being that for them, and as they get older you don't have all of the attachment of what normally we as parents get, because
Mm-hmm.
chose something that was a little bit healthier. I think that's a healthy word. That's
Oh
a
yeah, yeah. You know, you want to be your kids' cheerleader,
yeah,
and you don't. And if you notice that codependency, it's good to notice it and realize it, because you know we make mistakes, you know,
yeah,
and our parents made mistakes, and our kids will make their own mistakes, and we can't protect them
yep.
from their own mistakes.
Hmm.
So how else are they how else will they grow?
Yeah. Thank you. It's so true. That is control is codependency. So I appreciate you bringing up that word because it really really is. It's not teaching them how to like branch off and spread their
Yes,
wings, fly
yes.
for themselves. And so I know that I definitely struggled with that, for a long time with
Mm-hmm.
my kid. Just like I had to control every little thing to the
Oh
point
yeah.
she didn't really have a lot of the tools that she needed to survive in those first years of high school. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Because
Mm. Those are
I,
hard.
I took them for myself, and I'm like, this is how it's gonna go, and it didn't work out for me well with
Yeah,
that. So I want
yeah.
to tell all you parents, it doesn't work in the long run. It doesn't work. It may feel like it's working to keep that control, but they need to be educated more than anything. And I think that's what I learned. And just what you're sharing right now, being an advocate, and you taught them how to be advocates, you were educating them about life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate you sharing about your son. My husband actually works in that field. He works with children with autism. So
Awesome.
I love that you basically you worked with him and you taught him that concept of advo-
Mm-hmm.
advocating.
Yeah, you know, the guy, he lays out his clothes every night for what he's going to wear the next morning. I mean, if I could just be like that,
Mm.
a little more organized, he's got everything nailed. It's amazing.
But I think you, as a mom, you passed that on to him. He had to
Some
learn it
things,
somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah, somewhere. So that's beautiful. What would you say has been the most difficult for you, though, as an empty nester and as a businesswoman? Because you have a few roles here. You're a mastermind facilitator, you author, mom, well, empty nester, but still mom. Because as you say,
Mhm.
they do come back,
They do come back.
and they are
Yeah.
calling you. What has been the most difficult thing for you, and how did you deal with it?
You know, self-doubt has been with me my whole life. And when your children become adults, you know, you second guess yourself. And there was a lot of fear with me being an entrepreneur and wondering, you know, did I do the right thing by leaving my job? And that was a really big hurdle. Fear really held me back. You know, the fear of perfection, not fear of not doing it right. You know, fears of making a mistake. So when I realized that fear was actually my strength, that I had to break. Fear was what was helping me break through to new levels. And that self doubt was deeper than I ever thought it was. And I truly believe that the difference between people, those who are successful and those who aren't successful, are those who don't have that self doubt. And they're willing to work through those fears, because what's on the other side of fear is growth. And you know, to look forward to the growth instead of being afraid of the fear, because you know, you can be excited about something or you can be terrified about something. Wouldn't it be more productive to be excited than terrified? You know, if someone told me once that, you know, if you don't do anything, you're not moving. You're not moving ahead. So why not just take a chance, work through the fear, and see what is waiting for you on the other side? So that was has been a really big thing. I wish I would have discovered that when my kids were younger, but that it's just one of those things that I had to discover after the fact.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. I think self-doubt is a huge one for a lot of us. It's one of those things that just it rocks people's world. I do love that you said on the other side of fear is growth.
Mm-hmm.
I have never heard that before. Someone say that.
Okay.
And I appreciate that because it's so true
Mm-hmm.
when you think about it. Because when we do, and you and I both know, like those of us who are entrepreneurs who are continuing to move forward, we know that we have experienced growth. But
Mm-hmm.
I would have never looked at like, oh, on the other side of fear is growth. Like who signs up for that? No, nobody's really nobody's really thinking about that. There's
Yeah. No.
fear itself. um
Mm-hmm.
and I love that. I think that it's really cool, and it's a mindset shift that we all have to have in order to go on to pursue and do the things that we were called and made to do. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
Definitely.
There's
Definitely.
some comments over here. I'd like to read the comments. I really
Yeah.
want to talk before we go to our next question, but I want to see what the people are saying. Happy Friday. I am an empty nester too. Someone said they're an empty
Hey.
nester. They said, your book is dropped. My husband dropping your book. I have time for you. Gratitude elevates the spirit. I love the concept of vibrations that's there. I am loving this conversation,
Uh-huh.
ladies. Lisa, question for you. How did you transform from being an active mom to empty nester to entrepreneur? How did you motivate yourself? You want to answer that like really quickly, the motivation part?
One other piece that I wanted to share about, we talked about awareness and we talked about belief and we talked about trust. The other big piece, probably the biggest piece, is action. And I am an action taker. And if I'm not, if I'm not moving, I'll fall asleep. So I I just I really believe that if you don't take action and take baby steps, you're never going to be able to take the bigger steps. And
Ooh,
so that transition, even though my journaling was a baby step, and it helped me to open up my journal to beta readers. It was just another step. So for me, it was always about the steps. It was almost like my strategy was, what step can I take to move my self forward.
nice. Nice. That's a good one. So you hear that? The motivation was action.
It
I
really
think
was.
I don't know if you use acronyms, but I got your BTA, believe, trust, and action. BTA. So y'all get on it.
Get
BTA,
the
believe,
BTA.
trust, and action. Action is so powerful because I love that you said, you don't move, you sleep. And I think that
Hmm.
I think I would say often by us not moving, a lot of us are actually asleep in our lives. We're actually not living the life we were called to live. We're actually not
Hmm.
using the talents that we were born with to have because there's that fear, there's that self
Hmm.
doubt, So you guys got to get your BTA. If any of you can relate to what we're talking about tonight, believe, trust, and action. Let me read
Yeah.
some more here. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing that. Trust in what you are doing, that it will go good. No, trust in what you are doing, that it will so good for others. I think there might be a little word missing there. This kind of mindset will help you keep going during those hard times. Entrepreneurship. Sometimes in life, we have to go through experiences in order to learn how to deal with them. People with autism truly benefit from having family members who advocate for them. Codependency impairs a person's ability to develop their own individual self worth. Yeah, that's a big
Mhm.
one. Thank you for that. Fears can be a strength. On the other side of fears, growth, belief, trust, action. And then let's see here. There's one other down here. I can't, let me see more comments. It won't let me pull them. There's more comments here. I guess I have to look at them after this conversation. But thank you guys for these comments. I really appreciate that, y'all, because we like to know what's actually resonating with you, and these comments help us to know that this is resonating with you. There are specifics that resonate. So thank you. And thank you, Lisa, for giving us all that. So we're going to go back to these questions because we've got a little bit more time here. But I want to ask you, why do you think it is important for people to elevate to the next chapter of their life? What would benefit them to do that, to elevate to the next chapter? Because we talked about a lot of things with what kind of holds us back, self-doubt, not believing in ourselves, not trusting. But what do you think it would mean for them? Why is it so important to elevate to the next chapter?
The thing that pops in my mind is giving up.
Mm.
And I realize that there comes a point in our lives that we have to be okay with what we have, and everything will be okay. And sorry, repeat the question again. That's such a deep question that I really I have to feel.
Why do you think that it's important for a person to elevate, meaning go to the next level for the next chapter in their life? Because if they don't go to the next chapter, they're just sitting. And with that, I know different people have different reasons why they're not doing that. Some people feel like it's too late for me. I'm too old for my dream to dream again. I've heard that before. Like people are like, oh, girl, I'm just too old for that, or I can't do that. I missed my prime. Just why do you think it's important for them to push past that mindset and elevate to the next chapter in their life?
Okay. First, it is all about hope. That if you have the hope, desire, and wish to move forward, then it is very important to keep yourself elevated. Otherwise, everything will spiral and life will just be doom and gloom. And life has so much more to offer. And I truly believe that life is a gift and we are meant to use it to the best of our ability and not to waste what we've been given. So, and if you're okay with being okay, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being okay. It's your choice, and it's beautiful. It's everything with what you tell yourself. Because if you feel like there's something more, then find a way to work past that fear and talk it over with somebody. Reach out to someone. And even the questions that came across from your group, I feel the biggest strength that any entrepreneur can have is to be vulnerable and transparent. And if somebody needs help or wants to have that conversation with me, I will be 100% vulnerable and 100% transparent with where I'm at in my business. And if you're not okay with where you are in life, that might be a sign that you need to elevate yourself so that you can move to the next level. That's a really deep question. That's I didn't think about that one.
No, I
don't think there's a right answer.
I love what you shared though, because I think that it was very authentic and very real. Like you basically just said there has to be some hope. There has to be some hope in that next level, that next chapter in your life to elevate. I think that when we lack hope in something, or we lack hope in the future for ourselves, we just kind of sit in a position and we kind of go with the flow, or it's kind of, life is a little stagnant. There's no growth happening. And I know for me, one of the areas for me, when I know I'm not moving to the next step or the next chapter in my life, is when I am procrastinating and when there is no growth. Because I'm one of those people, I look for growth for myself. Like, oh, I did that today because I have like I do a things to do. I put a things to do in my phone, and I literally go and check it off at the end of the week what I did do. If there's no check offs, there's an indication for me there was no growth and movement. Growth is movement in your life. It doesn't have to be this huge thing. I think sometimes people attach their growth to this big thing. It could be this one small thing that you committed to, that you said you were going to do, and just doing
Mhm.
it, you know.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we're not moving forward, and we're lacking the hope that you're talking about,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
have to have that for ourselves. um Lastly, Lisa, because our time is up, but I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you and what you shared tonight. But I think that one of the beautiful things that you just shared before you shared about hope was that life is a gift. And
Mm.
I want to hold on to that. And I hope you guys that are watching, that you look at your life that it's a gift. It's a gift. And so you can either unwrap the gift or you can leave it boxed up. It's really up to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's almost like we're getting this gift in the mail.
Mhm.
We know you know you got a package coming. What's the first thing
Mhm.
you go and open that
That's
package?
right.
Because you've been waiting for it. So
Mhm.
I just think what you shared tonight really is something that we as entrepreneurs, as empty nesters, as people in general, need to really look at, that our lives are gifts. And I will leave us with that, except for I do want you to share, because you've given us such good information. Like, where can people find you if they want to have more of a conversation with you, whether it's about entrepreneurship, whether it's about parenting, empty nesting, whether it's about masterminding, any of it? Can you just share where they can reach you?
Yes. So you will always find me on my website, and that is my name with my middle initial, and it's lisarcarmichael.com. And you can also stalk me on Instagram. You're more than welcome. We didn't even talk about boundaries, so
Maybe we'll hit that one on Instagram.
yeah, yeah. But yes, please reach out. There is a free download on my website of the 7 secrets that I found to help me move my business forward online. And I also have a 5-day training that's coming up in the next few weeks. If you want to be on that list, just subscribe to my email list on my website, and I can get you set up for that.
Thank you, Lisa. Did you
Thank
guys hear
you.
all of that? So I think my husband's going to drop it back in the chat. But someone said great discussion and info. The goals are to keep it moving, and great analogy. We are here to unwrap our gift.
I love it.
All
Nice.
right, yes, we are. Thank you, Lisa, so much. Y'all, we're gonna close out tonight. Lisa and I are gonna do a recap on Instagram, and maybe we can talk about those boundaries there. So if you want to know a little bit more about boundaries and how to set them for yourself, join us on Instagram. We're gonna hop on over there, but we're only gonna be there for a few minutes, like a 15-minute recap. So if you want to hear more, please follow us over there on Instagram. I am Chantel Denise over there, and then Lisa Carmichael. So thank you, Lisa. It's been beautiful. And I really, really appreciate everything that you shared, lady. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you. I appreciate your listeners. They're amazing. And thank you,
you.
Chantel.
You're welcome. So that's it, y'all. And y'all know the drill. Make it a good day, because y'all can. Have a good one. Bye, y'all.